So since the last podcast, a new Final Fantasy game came out. It's been a big meme all over the internet. It's called Stranger in Paradise: Final Fantasy Origin. Um, Available on all major platforms. From my understanding, this game is a prequel to the original what's the name, Final Fantasy. And basically it ends what leads to the events of the original Final Fantasy. It stars Jack, who's trying to destroy chaos. I'm not really too familiar with the early Final Fantasy games because the first one I ever played was 8. So to me, this is all like, just new and learning the lore. But then I was talking to Gerard earlier today, and he was telling me that even still, like, some of it's kind of weird because there's references to Final Fantasy 7 in it and stuff. They kind of convoluted the story. So I don't know. All I can say is that I'm enjoying it for what it is. It's more of an action-based game. I kind of talked JG into trying it out. How you feeling about Stranger in Paradise?
I was pleasantly surprised. I got to give you your props on this one. I had no intention on playing this game. I did not know that it was going to be like basically a full action game. And like literally, I did the tutorial. I was like, yo, this game is fucking lit. People were watching me playing Homeless, for example. She was saying like this has like kind of like DMC vibes a little bit, mixed in with a little bit of Neo. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. It's an interesting perspective when she was watching me play. So I'm like, okay, like I kind of see like how this game has like a couple of those elements from those games in it, like with the actual combat. But I really like it though. Like it's even smoother than the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Like they really went like full on action with this one. And of course, like you have the RPG elements with your weapons and your skill trees and stuff, and like you could do some crazy stuff with all the what they call them jobs on this one. So it's dope. I really do like it. The story is like, man, I'm similar to you, TBH. I played Final Fantasy 7. It's my first one, and to be honest, I don't really care about the story. All I know is this shit is hilarious though, with Jack and his chaos, because it's all he wants to do. And I think the people saying like Jack is one of the most interesting Final Fantasy characters. I'm like, really? Are we playing the same game? Nah, bro. This dude just like
He's
chaos.
dense as fuck.
Nah, bro, he is super dead. That's all he cares about, is just destroying chaos. I'm like, okay, like he has one goal in life, and I see why it's a meme. Like it is actually freaking hilarious. But other than that though, like I think that the game like feels really dope. I don't really care about the story, but people were telling me that this was Final Fantasy, the first Final Fantasy. I'm like, all right, cool. It don't mean nothing to me. It's whatever. But I really like it so far, and I want to continue playing it and eventually beating this because like I'm getting some cool jobs now. I ended up going like the full Ronin route, and I'm having a fun time playing it so far.
Yeah, I actually had no intention of playing it either. I ended up getting a free copy of it, and I was like, all right, let me just try it for like an hour. And I had the same exact epiphany. I was like, yo, okay, this combat is lit, and like nobody's talking about the game. I personally, because I don't want to say it's full blown action. It's like 90% action with those little RPG elements, but it's definitely more action based than Final Fantasy 7 remake. When you look at the remake for 7, it looks like it's action based, but when you actually play it and try it out, there's like an ebb and flow to the game where you can't button mash. In this game, you can definitely button mash. You won't get it punished as much because it's so reactionary and so more action based. The one critique I have with the combat system, I don't know if you noticed it, but the way that you cast the spells, like you have to hold down a button and then you move the analog stick to which spell that you want to cast. I didn't really like that because a lot of times I found myself like fat fingering and accidentally moving any type of like, because you have to hold it to cast the spell. So like, let's say you're trying to cast a water spell, any accidental touch of the analog stick while you're doing that, it can move it over to fire and it could fuck things up. So like I would have preferred if like I could just kind of activate the spell kind of like in Final Fantasy 7 and then cast it versus moving this weird ass analog stick. That I didn't really like that mechanic. And then traversing the environment is my other critique of the game. I got lost really easy. Did you get lost in this game, Jay?
Yeah, I wish that you can jump. I was like, it's another one of those games that, like, especially like when you're playing the Elden Ring, like you can finally jump in this series. I'm like, why can't you jump in this game? Like, it seemed like something that you should be able to do. And yeah, I would say like the map or the lack thereof of a map is extremely confusing. I got caught on one part just because I didn't even know how to switch to my mage class. I'm sitting here like, I know I'm supposed to do this. It says that I need to do a water spell, but how the hell do I get to the job to get to the mage in order to do it? So like it just, some things like they just do not guide you correctly, and it is very easy to get lost.
Yeah, I think the game needed a map system. It's really weird that the game is so large and there's no type of map system. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. I actually enjoy the fact that the game, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's very like B movie kind of campy type shit, where it's like, hey, let's get something to eat. And Jack is like, I just want to kill chaos. Like, I think it's funny, man. Like, I'm like, this shit is so stupid. If you just don't take it seriously, it's funny to me. Yeah, and the story is pretty straightforward. I would go as far as to say like this game is like a dark horse of 2022. Like it's gonna get left out of a lot of conversations, but everybody who touches the game, they seem to really like it. And I wouldn't say go out and buy it at $60 if you're like on a tight budget. I know gas is through the roof, especially out here in Cali. It's like $1 million a gallon. I mean, I can't really relate, but I know it is. You know? So if you can't afford it, wait till the price drops. But it's really dope. Don't sleep on it if you're looking for a new RPG. I would ask your opinion on it, Ethos, but we know you don't play any games, so I mean, we can move on. I
played 30 minutes of it. I ain't got nothing. Continue.
No, you don't play games.
I play games. I play games. There's a game I play called Samurai Zero. It's all I play now. It's all
whatever.
Oh.
What did your 30 minutes of Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise?
It was cool. That's all I had. One of my devs that worked on Neo 2 is on Samurai Zero, so you know.
Okay.
Oh, you dead ass for?
I'm dead serious. Yeah, our animator, he worked on Neo 2. Yeah,
look at that. This game is made. I found it interesting. This game is actually made by Team Ninja and Koei. Yeah. So I was like, that's a very interesting combination. So I was like, the way that this game plays makes total sense.
Yeah, it plays like Neo from what I played a little bit. It reminds me of Neo 2, just a little kind of mixed with like Final Fantasy 7. It's like a mix, like they had a baby, and that's what it felt like to me a little bit. I'm not a fan of the soul break thing though. I don't like how like you're stuck in place when you do it. That's the parry thing I just don't like. But everything else I think is pretty cool.
It's cool though. Standing there whenever there's an enemy that does whatever the purple attack is, and you can like absorb it and then use it as your own. I think that's cool, but
yeah, I thought it was cool. I just didn't think it was. I didn't like how the naming system, like they call it a soul break. Like nigga, it's a parry. Like just. Like it was all these.
They have to make it interesting. They have to make it unique.
It was all these weird ass words coming up when I was doing the tutorial and shit, and I'm just like, bro, I hate that shit, bro. Like, just call it what the fuck it is, man.
Yeah, true. It is a lot. They kind of threw a lot at you and
making me overthink the names.
Yeah.
I just ended up pressing buttons and I figured the game out. I was like, oh, this is a parry. Like,
oh my god.
I mean, I did that with Elden Ring. I slayed more bosses than you, nigga.
No, I've played way more than you. I've definitely slayed more bosses than you. You've missed 5 bosses. I don't want to know.
No, I got mad many bosses under my belt.
This man being disrespectful.
Don't worry about the Ethos. He gets shit on Twitter right now. He gets shit on my Twitter by other.
I'm not listening. I'm not taking.
You use the moon veil.
I ain't listening to nobody.
Wandering into bosses, bro. He's wandering into
I refuse to take any of this from a man who couldn't even beat a monkey.